Thank you for tuning in to Storytime with Red. Before we begin, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. My name is Gavin Cross, and I once believed that my marriage was built to last. That belief shattered in the most unexpected way because of something so small, so subtle that most people wouldn't notice. The absence of a tan line where a wedding ring should have been. It all started when Arya, my wife of 15 years, returned from what was supposed to be a bonding vacation in Portugal with her sister. She came home glowing, her skin sun-kissed, her hair effortlessly tousled from sea breeze, our kids in her arms. On the surface, everything looked perfect. But when I hugged her, something didn't feel right. She gave me a smile that felt too rehearsed, her eyes twinkling, but not with joy. It was a kind of sparkle that hides secrets. I told myself not to overthink, but deep down, I felt a pit open in my stomach. That night, after we tucked the kids into bed, Arya pulled me into our room like we were newlyweds again. She wore a bikini playfully, telling me she brought a piece of the beach back with her. I laughed, pulled her close, kissed her like I had missed her every second. But when her bikini straps slipped off her shoulders, I noticed something strange. A smooth, even tan all over. No pale strip where her wedding ring used to be. Not even the faintest outline. I didn't say anything then. I wanted to enjoy the night, pretend everything was okay. But when the lights went out, I lay there wide awake, staring at the ceiling, that small detail gnawing at my mind. Arya never took off her ring. She used to say it was part of her. What changed? Over the next few days, more pieces of the puzzle began falling into place. She was oddly possessive of her phone, clutching it like it held state secrets. She'd giggle at messages she wouldn't explain. She said things like, "I feel so free now," while folding laundry, her eyes somewhere far away. I caught her whispering with her sister about another spa weekend. But the way they spoke made my skin crawl. I needed to know the truth. I installed a keylogger on the family laptop, something I never imagined I'd do. It didn't take long before I found her secret. A new email account under the name Stursel89, using our daughter's middle name as a password. What I found in that inbox took my breath away. Hundreds of emails back and forth between Arya and a man named Landon Pierce, a travel photographer she met in Portugal. At first, the messages were friendly, compliments, jokes about cameras, but soon they were sharing fantasies, making plans to meet again. She called him darling. They joked about moving in together. Her sister, Celeste, was part of it, too. She had her own fling with Landon's best friend, Miles. The two sisters had turned their vacation into a secret double date. I felt like I was drowning, but I didn't confront Arya. Not yet. I needed more than digital proof. I wanted justice. I needed her to feel what I felt. Betrayed, powerless, exposed. So I reached out to Darren, Celeste's husband, my brother-in-law. We met for coffee. I didn't sugarcoat it. "I think our wives cheated on us," I told him. He chuckled at first, but then he saw my face. "Say that again," he whispered. I showed him the emails and photos, the future weekend plans disguised as a spa getaway. His hands shook. "You have proof?" he asked. I nodded. That night, I stared at the photo on our nightstand. Our wedding day, her eyes full of love. I remembered our vows. The day our daughter took her first steps. The Christmases, the anniversaries. Then I looked at Arya sleeping beside me like nothing was wrong. That's when I made up my mind. Darren and I decided not to yell, not to fight, not to cry. We would plan our revenge carefully, let them walk into it blind. We created a fake itinerary for the spa weekend, booked real hotel rooms. But under our control, we hired a private investigator, Simon Cray, to wire the rooms with hidden cameras, track their movements, and collect every shred of evidence. The final piece, Arya and Celeste's father, Walter. Years ago, he lost everything when their mother cheated. He agreed to help us quietly. He said nothing as we told him the plan, but the pain in his eyes said everything. He wanted the truth. And this time, he wanted the cheaters to face the consequences. By Friday, everything was ready. Arya and Celeste were practically glowing, packed, and giddy. They kissed the kids goodbye like loving moms headed for a treat. Arya even wrapped her arms around me and said, "You always trust me, Gavin. That's what I love about you." I smiled, kissed her forehead. "Enjoy your weekend." As soon as they passed through airport security, I called Darren. "They're in the air," he responded. "Perfect. I'm at the hotel now. Cameras are live." We flew into Chicago the next day. Our cover was a tech expo. Walter came with us. He didn't talk much on the flight, just stared out the window, fists clenched. At the hotel, we met Simon in a private room. He showed us a live feed. Room 603, Arya and Landon. Room 605, Celeste and Miles. There they were, flirting, cuddling, sipping wine, touching each other like teenagers on a first date. No remorse, no shame. Walter didn't speak. He just stared, then quietly left the room. Darren asked, "Where'd he go?" "To pray," I said. "Or maybe to cry." That night, Simon gave us USB drives and thick folders. Inside, still images, chat logs, burner email screenshots, GPS data, and one photo I'll never forget. Arya taking off her wedding ring and tossing it onto the nightstand. That image seared itself into my memory. Walter came back late. His face was still. "Tomorrow," he said, "we end this." The next day, while the women were out enjoying brunch with their lovers, Walter went downstairs and bought 3 plush toys and a pink gift bag. I didn't understand until I saw the tags. To Mommy from Ava, to Andy from Max. They weren't presents. They were emotional grenades. Walter had one more surprise. He brought the kids. "My daughters made this mess," he said. "Let them see the cost." At 1:13 p.m., Simon texted us. "Targets are back. Showtime." We gathered outside room 603. I turned to my son, Eli. "Whatever happens, stay strong." He nodded. I knocked. "Housekeeping." No answer. I swiped the card. The door opened. Chaos erupted. Arya scrambled off the bed, barely wrapped in a sheet. Landon froze, shirtless, phone in hand. Behind me, Eli's voice cracked like lightning. "Mom, what are you doing?" Arya stared at me, wide-eyed. I didn't flinch. Walter stepped in behind me, holding up his phone. Recording. A process server entered next and handed her an envelope. "You've been served." Arya stammered. "Gavin, please. This isn't..." I cut her off. "You threw away 15 years for a beach fling with a man who doesn't even know your middle name." Landon tried to step forward, but Walter shut him down with a glare. "You ruined your own family, and this is absolutely my business." I looked at Arya one last time. I hoped the tan was worth it. Then I walked out. We left that room like it was a funeral. Would you like a follow-up story showing what happened after confrontation? The sobs and procession echo behind us, but I didn't turn around. Not even when I heard her call my name. Not even when Eli clutched my hand and whispered, "Is Mommy not coming home?" She made choices. "Son," I said softly, "now we make ours." Down the hallway, Darren stood in front of room 605, his daughter Lena, only 7, holding a stuffed giraffe and a card she had drawn herself. I watched her little face light up as she whispered, "We're going to surprise Mommy, right?" Darren's jaw was so tight, I thought he might crack a tooth. He nodded and knocked. Celeste opened the door wrapped in a towel, hair still damp, her eyes widened. "Lena, where are you?" she called. But Lena was already running into the room, laughing. Surprise! Then she saw a man, shirtless, sitting on the edge of the bed. The silence that followed could have crushed the air out of the building. Celeste's face fell apart. "Darren, I can explain," she said quickly, but he didn't answer her. Not right away. He looked at Miles and said in a low voice, "Get dressed. If you're still here in 10 seconds, I won't be responsible for what happens." Miles stammered, scrambling to cover himself while gathering his clothes. Celeste tried to stand between them. "Please, not in front of her. You didn't care who saw when you were moaning someone else's name," Darren snapped. That's when Walter entered the room. "My granddaughter's first hotel memory," he said coldly. will be of her mother cheating. That's what you've given her. Congratulations. Celeste looked like she'd been hit by something invisible and fatal. Then the process server stepped forward, handed her the envelope, and took a photo. You've been served, he said before turning and walking away, vanishing like a ghost. Back in the suite, we regrouped. I sat on the edge of the bed while the kids quietly played, unaware that they were sitting in the middle of an emotional minefield. Walter stood by the window watching the Chicago skyline. I failed them, he said quietly. No, I told him. They failed you. He shook his head. Their mother did this. She taught them that loyalty is optional, that love is leverage. I tried to undo that, but some scars are deeper than fathers. His voice cracked, and for the first time I saw Walter cry. Not at his ex-wife's funeral. Not during all the tough years, but now. That's when I knew the plan wasn't ending. It was just beginning. Back in Minneapolis, I filed for emergency custody of Eli and Josie. Arya tried to call me 33 times over 3 days. I didn't answer once. Her voicemails ranged from crying to screaming to pleading. I forwarded them all to my attorney. At school drop-offs, I noticed a shift. Whispers, stares, the smiles gone cold. The story had started spreading, helped along by an anonymous email Walter had sent out. Just one photo was attached. The ring-tan line, the caption, "What a loving wife forgets while cheating." Her world collapsed. Arya was dropped from her charity board, removed from the Parent-Teacher Association, and ghosted by the same women who once adored her curated social life. Her Instagram, once filled with polished family portraits, went silent. Then came the final blow. Walter changed his will. The family trust, once destined for Arya and Celeste, was reassigned exclusively to the grandchildren. Gavin and Darren were named as sole trustees. When Arya found out, she drove straight to my door, pounding like a woman possessed. "You told him," she screamed. "You poisoned him against me." "No," I said calmly. "You did that on your own." Tears smeared her mascara as she shook. "I messed up. I know I did. But I love you. I never stopped." I crossed my arms. "Then tell me his middle name." She blinked. "What?" "Landon," I said. "The man you love so much. What's his middle name?" She looked stunned. Empty. Exposed. "You don't know, do you?" She shook her head, breaking. "Then don't stand here and tell me it was love." I shut the door. That night after the kids were asleep, I stood alone in the kitchen staring at the chair where Arya used to sit every morning. I didn't feel triumphant, just free. Not from the marriage, but from the illusion. 3 weeks later, Arya moved into a small rented condo across town. It smelled like fresh paint and something colder. Regret. She saw the kids every other weekend. At first, she tried hard. Pizza nights, board games, movies, but children sense more than we think. Eli stopped calling her mom. He started calling her Arya. Josie once asked, "Why doesn't mommy wear a ring anymore?" I told her gently, "Sometimes grown-ups forget what matters most. But we never stop loving you." Saying that almost broke me. At school, Eli got into his first fight. A boy called her the tan line woman from Facebook. Eli punched him hard enough to split his lip. I was called in. The principal lectured me on discipline, emotional control. I let him finish. Then I looked at him and asked, "If your mom destroyed your whole life for a 2-week fling, what would you punch?" He had nothing to say after that. Eli was suspended for 2 days. We went camping instead. Arya called again during that weekend. I answered. "I won't explain," she said. "Explain what?" I asked. "Why you laughed with him while I was raising our children." "I was lost," she whispered. "Invisible. I didn't go looking for it, but he made me feel wanted again, like I was more than just a mom or a wife, like I was still a woman." "You were always a woman," I said. "You just stopped being a wife." She started crying quietly, painfully. "I hate myself. I miss our family. I wake up every day and wish I hadn't done it." I listened. Then I told her, "Arya, I forgave you the day I saw the emails. Not because you deserved it, but because I didn't want your betrayal shaping who I became next." She went silent for a long time. Finally, she asked, "Are you seeing someone else?" "No," I said. "But I look in the mirror now and see someone who survived you, and that's more than enough." Meanwhile, Celeste and Darren's divorce grew uglier. Celeste refused to sign the property settlement, still clinging to the idea of reconciliation. Darren wasn't interested. Then he dropped a bomb. A USB drive with a screen recording of Miles, the man from the hotel, trying to extort her. Turns out he wasn't a travel blogger at all. He was a scam artist with a history of seducing married women for gifts and access. When that footage played in court, the judge didn't hesitate. Darren got full custody. Celeste left the state and moved in with her mother. I started journaling just to process it all. But over time, the entries became reflections, then chapters, and finally a manuscript. I called it 10 Lines and Truth: How I Survived My Wife's Affair. Walter read the first draft and cried. "You turned pain into purpose," he said. That same week, a small independent publisher offered me a deal. The book was raw. No sugarcoating, no melodrama. Just honest moments, both humiliating and human. I didn't protect Arya's image, but I didn't destroy it either. I just told the truth. Then came the twist no one expected. Landon's wife filed a lawsuit against Arya. Defamation, emotional distress, professional damage. She'd lost her job, her marriage, her public life. Arya called me in a panic. "They're going to take everything," she sobbed. "I don't even have a lawyer." "Sell your condo," I told her. "Then maybe you'll understand what it feels like to lose a home." I hung up. I stayed civil for the kids. Emails about appointments, birthdays, school events. But that was it. Arya emailed me on our anniversary. 15 years ago today I wore white. You cried when I walked down the aisle. Your hands shook. I didn't respond because I remembered how easily she let those hands be replaced. But life, as it always does, moved on. And so did I. One afternoon at a cafe, I met someone. Not romantically, just a conversation. She was a widow. Her grief was different, but familiar. "I envy you," she said gently. "Why?" I asked. "Because your pain has a villain. Mine doesn't. That makes healing harder." I thought about that for days. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was lucky in a way. Time passed. Life wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful. I made breakfast, handled school runs, read bedtime stories. No more lies, no more masks. Just truth and healing. One morning, Walter stopped by. He looked healthier, lighter. "I'm proud of how you handled all this," he said. "You broke the cycle. My daughters didn't. But you did." That meant more than he knew. A few weeks later, I saw Arya again at Eli's school concert. She looked smaller, diminished.